One of the most fascinating things that we can do with an electric guitar is for sure using distortion. In order to obtain a distorted sound, there is not just one way, but many different approaches that can lead you to great results. Today I'm going to show you 5 different ways that we can choose to obtain a nice distorted tone, and I will also tell you which one is my favorite in the last years. I made a small order on strumentimusicali.net that I thank for making this video possible, but before taking a look on the gear that I ordered, I kindly remind you to subscribe to my channel if you want to support this kind of videos. And now, without further ado, let's proceed with the unboxing. The first approach, and maybe the easiest and more common one to get a distorted tone, is to actually use the distortion of the amplifier. Of course, just if your amplifier have a distorted channel. This approach is probably the most used among hard rock and heavy metal guitar players, because usually you can get a fat and wide, really rich kind of tone. The pros of this system are for sure that the tone is great, but the cons are that generally it's kind of an expensive approach, since if you want to change the typology of your tone, you have to change the whole amplifier. The amplifier that we're going to use today is my Marshall JCM 2000 DSL 50 watts, and in the next example I will use its distorted channel with the lead 1 mode. The second way to get a distorted tone is to use a distortion pedal into a clean channel of an amplifier, or in some cases even in the return of the loop effects of the amp. Some of these pedals are actually preamps that can make a huge tone difference, and so you can use them if you want to give your amplifier a different sonic twist. For sure, the amplifier and our cabinet will have a big impact on the final results, but if the pedal is well made, it can be really refreshing if we want to have different sounds than the one that we are used to. And more importantly, we have the chance to bring with us a good percentage of our distorted tone, even if we use a different amplifier than ours. The pro of this system is that for sure it's a cheaper approach compared to the previous one. Of course, if we have an amplifier already. And more importantly, it's more easily interchangeable and portable. The con is that it represents just a part of our signal chain, so we will not have 100% the same tone as we will change the amplifier we're using. Also, generally speaking, the tone that we will get in this way is usually, let's say, smaller, with less bass frequencies compared to the distorted tone of a real amplifier. For today's video I chose this pedal, the MXR 5150 Overdrive, that even if it's called Overdrive, it's a real distortion pedal with tons of gain and even a booster if that's not enough. Plus we also have a noise gate that can be useful if you're really into extreme high gain settings. The third way to get a distorted tone is to use fuzz pedals. The fuzz sound is full of character and it can be really fun to use. You can use a fuzz both on the clean or on a distorted channel of an amplifier, and in both ways the results will be quite interesting. The pros of this system are really similar to the previous approach, but you have to consider that if you like the fuzz tone, probably your only way to have it is to use this kind of approach. The con is that, like the previous example, both the amplifier and the cabinet will have for sure a big impact on the final tone. Also, mind that the fuzz tone is so full of character that might not be for everybody's taste. Let's hear some tones that I got with these Big Muff by Electro Harmonix, a simple fuzz pedal with just 3 knobs: volume, sustain and tone, but still very versatile. The fourth way to get a distorted tone is to stack different pedals. This approach is widely used by guitar players that usually have a clean sound of an amplifier and then they build all their tones nuances mainly with pedals. The pro of this system is that you have a huge variety of combinations and possibility, and the con is actually the same. Since the possibilities are quite endless with this system, I would recommend it to guitar players that are more expert, or to the ones that are really into tweaking the knobs, since you can get really great results, but also poor guitar tones as well. And I actually heard a lot of really compressed, with too much gain tones that were not really pleasing. For this example, I will use the famous Robert Keeley compressor, followed by the iconic SD1 by Boss in this nice Wazacraft version. Two pedals that are quite simple, but that together they can get great results for sure. If you want to have rich tone with a lot of sustain, even with single coil pickups. fifth and final way to get a distorted tone, it's also my favorite in this moment, and it consists in using the crunch tone of the amplifier and then using an overdrive as a boost in order to have more gain. This approach is widely used by many guitar players that have amplifiers with great crunch tone but without a lot of gain. Also, we can use this approach if we want to tighten up our guitar tone like many metal players do. Boosters and overdrives tend to cut low frequencies from our guitars, and in this way we can get very aggressive and more precise guitar tones, especially when we do palm muting stuff. The pros of this system is that for sure it's one of the best sounding approaches, at least for my taste. The con, of course, is that if I want to carry the whole thing, I should bring both my pedalboard and my amplifier as well. In the next example, I will use my Marshall DSL with its clean channel, this time in the crunch mode, boosted by the SD1 by Boss. Let me know which one of these approaches you use, and also if I forgot to mention other ways that maybe you use. I want to thank again strumentimusicali.net that gave me the chance to make this video. Of course, you can find all the links in the description down below regarding the gear that I used today. Don't forget to subscribe, push the like button and ring the bell if you don't want to miss any other video of mine. And that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Ciao!